Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about considering getting a prepaid legal service. Okay. Now this is one of these. This is a topic I always bring up every time I'm teaching a personal protection class, or a defensive shooting class, or whatever name I happen to give to the class. But one of the things I discuss with my students is that they should have a lawyer on hand, because basically if they ever get into a defensive shooting type of situation, or any legal situation for that matter, basically they should not talk to the police. Okay, now by that what I mean is it's not like if you're in a defensive shooting, you're not going to be like, mom, I'm not saying a word to the cops. What you want to be is like, I'm sorry, officer, I'm under a lot of stress right now. I had to defend myself. I need to speak to my lawyer first, okay? I want to cooperate with you, but I need to talk to my lawyer first, okay? And, that's one of those key words. I mean, cops, are trained, that's like one of those keywords. Once they hear that, okay, they should know that at that point they're supposed to stop pressing you to find out what happened, okay? And one of the things that you can tell the officers, like, even though I can't talk to you right now, there's a couple of witnesses over there. Perhaps they can give you some information. Okay. And while all this is going on, or even before, maybe before the cops even arrive at the scene, you should be on the phone to your lawyer. Okay. And the ideal situation is that when the cops arrive, first of all, your gun's in your holster, right? You don't want the cops arriving on the scene with you holding a gun in your hand, okay? So you want your gun in your holster, and basically, even your cell phone, you want it in your pocket, right? You want your hands to be open and free and clear, okay? Obviously clear. But your lawyer should be on hold, okay? And as soon as the cop, approaches you, tell them, listen, you have your cell phone in the pocket, with the lawyer on the line, and that your lawyer wants to talk to them. Okay, that's an ideal situation of how you want to handle a defensive shooting type of situation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a defensive shooting, where you actually shot. It could have been a situation where somebody was trying to harm you and you drew the gun out of the holster. They stopped doing whatever they were doing, ran away, and now you're in the process of filing the police report. Okay, so even though you didn't actually fire any shots, you still want a lawyer to represent you. Okay, because you don't want to be accused or charged with brandishing a gun or threatening somebody. Okay, and what you say is very, very important, and even more important is what you don't say. Okay, if it's important for you guys to understand that, if the police decide that you should be arrested, okay, there's nothing that you can say that will, there's nothing that you can say that will stop you from being arrested. Okay, and I've talked to a lot of people, especially in the situation where no shots were actually fired, nobody's actually been hurt, and a police report is being done. A lot of people, their mindset is that, well, if they just explain everything, the whole problem will go away, and they won't be arrested, and they won't have to pay lawyer fees, because that's one of the things that's actually going through people's minds, if they're in a, if they end up in a complicated situation. Especially where a gun's involved, okay, and where there's a possibility that they might be charged with something. They're not thinking, oh God, what's the best way for me to get out of this, to stay out of trouble? What's the best way for me not to get in trouble? They're thinking of, oh my God, how am I going to avoid paying the legal fees? And that is not the time to be thinking about how you're going to avoid paying the legal fees, okay? That's a situation where you want to get the best lawyer you can actually get, okay? And one of the ways that you know what a good lawyer is, that good lawyers only take certain cases that they specialize in. If you've got a lawyer that pretty much takes everything from real estate to criminal cases to traffic tickets, that's a jack of all trade lawyer. That lawyer is not going to be good at any one particular thing. and that is definitely not the lawyer you want in a situation where you might end up going to jail, or you may end up losing your gun rights. Okay, and one of the things I'll tell people, if you're in any type of situation where you're arrested and charged, okay, if you are not guilty, absolutely do not plea bargain. Okay, do not accept lesser charges. Get a lawyer that will defend you, and will not plea bargain. Now, one of the things to know with prosecutors, okay, is that they know who a good lawyer is and who a crappy lawyer is. Okay, so if you show up, if you are charged and you end up with like a public defender, okay, they pretty much know that they're up against a weak lawyer who's got a pretty long list of other cases that they're working on, and basically they'll know that your lawyer is basically trying to close this case up as quickly as possible and move on to their next case. Okay, so if you have like a public defender, they are going to usually be very happy to plea bargain for you, in which case you're going to end up with some charge, which will at the very least, you won't be able to get a carry permit at some point in the future, and you may even lose your ability to be able to to own and buy guns. So if you are not guilty, but absolutely do not accept any plea bargaining, you have to fight this case to the bitter end. Okay, and the prosecutors, and even the cops, but especially the prosecutors, they know who the strong lawyers are, and prosecutors are not looking for a fight. They're looking for easy victories. Okay, so if you have a weak lawyer that they that typically handles landlord-tenant cases and traffic tickets and that kind of stuff. If they see you with a weak lawyer, to them, they're sensing that they're really going to push that case and try to get as much of a victory as that as possible. On the other hand, if you show up with a strong lawyer that they know has successfully defended people in your situation, they know they're in for a fight, all right? And they really don't want a fight. They don't want to, lawyering is kind of like a business. They want to put a little effort into it and get a lot out of it. Okay, so if you're the one being prosecuted and you're showing up with a strong lawyer that's going to fight to the bitter end and make that prosecutor fight for every inch of ground, that's not a very profitable situation for them, both money wise and time wise. Okay, so that's the lawyer you want. You want the lawyer that they hate. That they don't want to. They don't want to go up against that lawyer. So you definitely want a specialist. Okay. Now, if I use a prepaid legal service, okay, and it's called U.S. Law Shield. U.S. Law Shield. And I'm kind of putting it out. Basically, I usually put it out to my students. It's not the only one out there, but at the time that I researched it, I thought it was the best one. And they cover all 50 states. Okay. Now it has to be a case where you're in a defense. Like if it's an obvious, like you went out to murder somebody, they're not going to defend you in that case. Okay. But if you have a if you have a defensible case, right, where it's like I shot in self-defense or I pulled out the gun in self-defense, it is a prepaid service and they will defend you. And basically you do have a lawyer on call. So that's a situation that I was describing earlier, where you'll be able to call, if you're in any type of self-defense situation. It just doesn't have to, it's not just gun related. It can also be, knife related, bat related, any self-defense situation. If you're in a situation where you're in a vehicle and you're boxed in and surrounded and basically you use your car to drive away and you hit the people that were trying to hurt you, right? That's also covered. Okay, so even if it's self-defense by the use of your car, that's also covered. So it's any self-defense type of situation, they will cover it. Okay, and let me just give you an idea of what this costs you. Basically, you pay $20 up front. Okay, and then you pay them $11 a month. Now for the $11 a month, that covers you in your state only. Okay, now if you're a person that travels, it does a lot of traveling in states where you would typically carry a gun, then you take the 50-state option, and basically you're paying $14 a month. Okay, So for most people aren't going to be doing that much traveling out of state. So for most people, it's going to be $11 a month to cover them just in their state. If you think, and you can start with one and then switch to the other if you think that you're going to be traveling, and then if it turns out you're not traveling, you can switch back to the other one. So most people are going to be paying the $11 a month for their own state, $14 a month for all 50, $14 a month for all 50 states. And then there's a couple of add-ons that they also have. You can pay like an extra $3 a month, which will give you like a bail bond of like $25,000. So basically, that's just something you might. And tell you, I don't have that one, but if you want a prepaid bail bond thing, you can ask them about that if you think that's something that you're interested in. If you have minor children that are in school, and let's say that, for an extra $2, that will cover them, and that will cover situations where let's say the kids your kids get into a fist fight at school, or a bullying situation, or any situation where they had to defend themselves. If it comes up, if there's charges filed, any of that stuff, for an extra $2 a month, your kids are covered. If you're a hunter, you can pay an extra $3 a month, and that will cover you for like if you're hunting and you have any issues with the game warden, anything related to hunting, they'll cover you for that for an extra $3 a month. And then they have another one, you pay an extra $7 a month, and that covers like identity theft stuff. And again, that I'm even less familiar with because I don't have that one. I pretty much, I have the all 50 state coverage, okay, because I do some traveling. So I paid the $20 a month, and then I paid them $14 a month, and that covers me for all 50 states. Now, like for example, I can't go to New York carrying because I know I'm not supposed to carry in New York, or if I can't go to California and carry because I know my carry permit's not good over there. So that's an example where if I did something that stupid, they may not cover me. Now, the exception to that is, for example, because let's say like where I'm at, Pennsylvania borders New York, and if I'm driving through Pennsylvania and basically the roads are closed and I am detoured out of Pennsylvania into New York, and that's a situation now where I have no control. I'm being directed by traffic. I must basically go through into New York. Okay, and that situation that has occurred to me, but it has occurred to certain people, or some people have been detoured into New Jersey. In that situation where you had no control, and basically you were directed out of your state into the next state, they would cover you for that. Okay. So anyway, the name of the company is a U.S. Law Shield. You get a card. Basically, you can get one for yourself, one for your wife. I forget what they charge for the spouse, but they have an add-on fee for the spouse if you want to get your spouse on. I recommend you guys look into that. And one of the things that I would recommend is if you whether it's with this, if you use this service, another service, or if you use your own lawyer, what you want to do is create like a little, a manila folder or an envelope, basically, right? And in that envelope, put your lawyer's number, put maybe some money in there, put some put some directions, right? And give that, let's say, to your wife or a family member. Somebody whose phone number you have memorized, okay? And the reason for that is that if you do ever find yourself arrested, right, and you don't get the opportunity to call your lawyer fast enough, what's going to happen is you're going to be in a jail cell, right? They're going to take away your cell phone, okay, because you're not going to have that in a jail. You're going to be allowed that one phone call, and with that one phone call, you can only pretty much make a call somebody whose number you have memorized, okay, and that is most likely going to be your wife. Or girlfriend or significant other, mother maybe. So what you want to do is you call that person, right, whose number you have memorized, and you tell them, listen, go get that envelope that I had in that drawer that I told you, open it up and follow those directions. And those directions, of course, will have the number of the lawyer, your account number, all the information that they need in order to get a lawyer to you, okay? So that's how one way that you can use this. But important thing here is you should, we all, most of us, we carry our guns, right, for our personal protection. We have a self-defense plan, okay? And that self-defense plan is for dealing with immediate threats, okay? But we need to also have a self-defense plan for dealing with the after threats or the aftermath, okay? So, the aftermath will be the possibility of you getting arrested or charged, and there has to be a plan in place. There has to be a plan in place, okay? Which should include a lawyer. And I absolutely urge you not to talk to the police on yourself, by yourself rather. Do not talk to the police by yourself. The more you talk, the greater the chance is that you will incriminate yourself, okay? Even if you are perfectly innocent, you're going to slip up. First of all, you're going to be under a lot of stress. And what's going to happen is you're not going to remember things, or you may lose sense of time, or you may lose sense of the order of things. And what's going to happen is if you talk to the police, immediately after an incident, you're going to give one statement, okay? And then what's going to happen is a week later when they question you again, you're now going to start remembering things. You might forget a few things. You might remember, the order in which things you might forget that, or you might remember that. And what's going to happen is that a week later you're going to give another statement. Okay, so now the police are going to have two statements: one that you gave on the day that the incident happened, and one that you gave a week later. And basically, what they're going to tell you is, well, were you lying to us then, or are you lying to us now? Okay, that's the situation that you're going to get yourself in. And I don't care if you're an expert. I don't care if you have an IQ of whatever, 1 million. Okay. If you're put in that type of a stressful situation, you're going to get yourself in trouble if you talk, okay? So, you need to tell the police that, hey, listen, I had to defend myself. I was, because my life was in danger, okay? And at this point, I need to talk to a lawyer because I'm under a lot of stress right now. And they should understand that, because in almost all states, the police are advised that if they themselves are in a defensive shooting situation, that they are not to give a statement until they talk to their lawyer or to their, police union or police association. So they should be fully aware of this. So give yourself the same courtesy that the police give to themselves, okay? Make sure you get a lawyer before you start running your mouth. In fact, don't run your mouth at all. The lawyer is going to do all the talking for you, okay? You keep your mouth shut. Let them do their job. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.